Time now for an in-depth look at the market news this afternoon. And for that, I'm joined on the line by Dr. Jun-sok, Professor of Economics at the Catholic University of Korea. Professor, good afternoon. Thanks for coming on today.
Happy to be here.
Stocks on Wall Street started out higher last Friday, but by mid-session were in the red. The latest jobs report showing employment is still red hot. Today, the KOSDAQ started out higher as well, but that too was gone by mid-session. Though the big names on the KOSDAQ were a bit of a mix. What's the story in the global equity markets and here in Korea?
Okay, well, looking at the U.S. market, the last week was end of August as well as beginning of September. So if you look back on August, it started out very optimistic, if you can remember that far back. The markets did very well at the first half of the month, but after the July minutes of FOMC, the Fed were released, the market started falling and it's continuing to fall. So for the month of August, Dow fell by 4.1%. S&P fell by 4.2%, NASDAQ fell by 4.6%, and for the last week, which encompasses the last part of August and the beginning part of September, it was a third straight week of decline, with Dow falling 3%, S&P falling 3.3%, and NASDAQ by 4.2%. Now, as you mentioned, the big reason behind the fall last week was the job gains report that came out toward the end of the week. It recorded a new job creation of 315,000 for the month of August. That's slightly lower than the economist estimate, and the unemployment rate was 3.7%, slightly higher than estimated, but still, it is signals that the U.S. Job market is still very strong. The wage growth was 5.2%, slightly higher than expected, but still, it signals that the job market is still fairly high, though it is not keeping up with the inflation rate. Year to date, Dow has fallen by 14.4%, S&P by 18.9%, and NASDAQ for the year has fallen by 26.5%. The downfall in the market seems to be due because more and more analysts are expecting that the Fed will take a giant step of 75 basis points when they meet in September. For European stocks, market, they just started trading for today, and the markets are all, for DAX and CAC are down. FTSE is also down. Euro has fallen 99 cents per dollar during the early part of trading today, and this seems to be because of energy prices. Russia has cut off gas supply to some European countries. They claim that it's a pipeline malfunction, but I'm not sure if anybody believes that. It seems to be in response to a G7 agreement on a price cap for Russian oil. There will be no insurance for oil transport ships when they're charging above the cap prices, and Russia has promised to shut off oil and gas supply to countries participating in the price cap. The European inflation report was also out last week, and the inflation rate was 9.1%, even though there are substantial differences among countries. France being among the lowest at 6.8%, but Estonia highest at 25.2%, because they're hit directly with rise and shortages in gas and oil. It seems that at least for Europe, unlike the United States or even Korea, their inflation rate is likely to keep on continuing to go up. For the Asian markets, Nikkei was down slightly today. Shanghai slightly up. Hang Seng was slightly down. So it's a mixed result for the Asian market today. For Korea, we had some large changes. Today, KOSDAQ went down by 0.24%, ended today at 2,403.68. But it did go down below the 2,400 barrier for part of the day. KOSDAQ fell by 1.8%, ended today at 771.59. KOSPI, individuals and foreigners sold, institutions bought. KOSDAQ individuals bought and institutions and foreigners sold. Year to date, KOSPI is down 19.6%. KOSDAQ is down 25.7%. The reason for the downfall today seems to be the Korean market started to follow the United States market in going downwards, and then there was a large change in the foreign exchange market, which started the foreigners selling, so that accounts for the lower results today.
Right. So turning to the exchange rate for the Korean currency because it has gone up even higher today, now above 1370 to the dollar. This is the highest again in almost 13 and a half years. Professor, how high is it going to go, and what can be done to stabilize it?
Okay, well, you have to remember the higher the number of the exchange rate goes, the higher the number, the lower the value of the Korean won. And today, the Korean won lost 66% of its value. It went up by 0.66%, excuse me. And it ended today at 1,372.00. Year to date, Korean won has depreciated by 15.5%. But that's actually somewhat similar to how euro and the pound are doing. The euro has fallen by 14.8% since the beginning of the year. Pound by lost value by 18% since the beginning of the year. Yen has lost somewhat larger amounts. If you calculate it from the beginning of the year, they lost 22%. And the dollar index is now 110. This is a two-decade high. The last time it has been this high was 2002. The biggest reason is the interest rate. The U.S. Is likely to have a giant step when they meet in September, and Korea, when we had our monetary policy meeting last month, we only raised it by 25 basis points. So the interest rate differential is going to be fairly large when the Fed meets in September. But also the trade numbers came in at the end of last month, and Korea's trade deficit is rising. So that is also, we seem to be weakening the confidence in the Korean won. And personally, I think the weather is also having a part to do with it because the exchange rate is fluctuating so much. People don't want to get stuck in a bad situation if the weather cuts down trading tomorrow or the day after. So they seem to be moving into safe harbors, at least for the next few days.
Right, and this week the Korea Development Institute will have its economic trends report for September. Also, the Bank of Korea with a report on financial markets. What's on your radar, Professor, in the week ahead?
Okay, well, for today, the Statistics Korea will have future population projection. On Wednesday, the Bank of Korea will have balance of payments. Even though the monthly report for trade account is in deficit, current account is likely to be in the positive side. On Friday, Statistics Korea will come up with the August employment. This will be the big number. It will show whether Korea is going in an economic slowdown or not. For foreign statistics, on Wednesday, China has their trade numbers coming out, and this is also a fairly big number for global economy. On Thursday, the European Central Bank, they had the Governing Council meeting, and they will decide on their interest rate policy for the month of September. Right now, it seems they will probably raise the interest rate. The only question is how much.
Thank you so much, Professor, for your insights, and we hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you.